Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Day 3 of New York Comic Con 2015. This is the Cheerios kickoff show. We're going to kick things off in an amazing way. These folks up here are individuals I respect in crazy amounts, and this guy right next to me is one of my heroes. We got Robert Kirkman, creator of The Walking Dead. We got David Alpert, executive producer on Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, and several other titles. We've got also Dan Murray, who's the president of Skybound Interactive. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Doing great. We're here at New York Comic Con.
Excited to be wearing a headset?
Yeah. Well, so that we can hear each other, too.
Oh, no, I love it.
I'm going
to wear this for the rest of the day.
This is my headset.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that you leave with those. So you guys had a great night last night, I hear.
Yeah, it was a big night. Big night, Madison Square Garden. We did a big fan premiere there. It was, I'm going to say 1 million people.
Yeah.
1 million people
1
there
million.
in the
1 million. That's right.
I don't know the exact number. It was a lot, so I'm just going to say 1 million. But
that's okay.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I counted.
And I also heard that you got booed last night. Is this accurate?
I did get booed.
Yeah.
I asked for it, though.
Right.
I brought it
I
on
heard
myself.
you handed it
I said, we're getting ready to show you the premiere of Season 6, and keep in mind, no one is safe. And so they were very upset because I'm talking about characters dying, and, sometimes people don't want you to kill the characters.
Right.
I don't care.
And you've always said no one is safe. Like, even in the, even
almost
in the letters.
more so in Season 6.
Okay.
So.
But hold on. I don't think I think he's underselling it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
After they gave a gentle boo, he goes, "Come on, bring it on.
Yeah.
Tell me who your favorite character is. I'll kill them first."
Which only resulted in more boos, right?
Yes.
Yes.
At what point? What did you do at that point? Can you give us a
I did a couple of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like the Robert.
It was fun. It was fun.
And I've, of course, I haven't seen it. My wife would kill me if I went and didn't watch it with her, so I'm going to wait till I get home. But
you do what I do when I'm traveling, watch Game of Thrones and then don't tell your wife.
See, I tried that once. Seriously, they know. Oh. They know. If you just have like a little, are you saying you fake?
Yeah, and then I come back, and then I'm like, oh, we got to watch it tonight. You got to be really excited about watching it when you get back.
Right.
That sells that you haven't seen it.
Right.
Okay. We're watching it tonight. Are you ready? You got to bring it up, and then you get on the couch with them, and then you're like,
oh my God! Didn't see it coming.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try it again. Maybe sometime we'll see.
It works.
In addition to the launch, the premiere of 6th season, of course, Fear the Walking Dead just wrapped up, as well as we have No Break, which Walking Dead fans are super stoked about. But David, you of course were executive producer on Fear the Walking Dead, and before we kind of kick into some other things, like how do you feel like things went? 6 episodes.
Honestly, it was a pretty crazy challenge to try to pull off. I think launching not a spin-off but a companion series where we're not taking any planted characters, coming up with an entirely original storyline and group of characters. I think it was really a big challenge. Launching in the summer was also something that we were really sort of a little nervous by, but honestly I think the fans turned out. They love what Robert and Dave Erickson created and really put something out there fantastic. But I have to say when we were presented the challenge of creating an entirely new cast of characters, we sort of felt like we had proven that we could do that, both with from the comics to when Robert created the novels with J. Bond and Singer, and then when we did the Telltale game, we had shown that different casts of characters can exist inside the Walking Dead universe, and that was like a really good thing for us.
Excellent. And did I read yesterday that Fear the Walking Dead took the spot as like the most viewed premiere season of anything on cable?
I think it was considered to be the biggest thing ever. I think was the official term.
We'll just go with that. It's what the plaque says, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. In addition to the shows, and Dan, one of the reasons we've got you here, Skybound Interactive has certainly been busy as well. You guys have, Overkill's The Walking Dead, The Escapists, The Walking Dead just came out.
Overdead sounds really cool.
Overdead does sound good. I think we're gonna have to change them.
Yeah. And then also another mobile offering, which was Road to Survival. I've actually played that quite a bit myself, but you've got some new content that's coming out that is based off of All Out War, right? One of the
That's right. Well, actually, so this week we launched Alexandria, so an update that sort of focuses on the characters that everybody knows from the comics, Douglas Monroe, Aaron. So we sort of introduced a whole new storyline, sort of telling the story about the residents and the people inside of Alexandria. The game itself is told from the point of view of a resident of Woodbury. So we brought in Jay Bonansinga, who wrote the novels, the Walking Dead novels, with Robert, to sort of flesh out the storyline, to sort of tell that point of view before the governor sort of went insane and became the governor. So we sort of start there, and then we're sort of branching, and then you take over sort of the town of Woodbury after the governor has his issues with Robert and the gang. So.
And so that release is out already, and but you have another update coming.
Yeah.
Right?
So coming later this year, so soon there'll be an all-out war, what we're entitled All-Out War update, and that will really sort of. Again, the game, as you can see sort of on here, is really sort of about building a community and then establishing a faction. So there's a very strong sort of social component to it.
Right.
So as you sort of go deeper into the game, you make choices, as you can see, on the storyline that sort of have an impact in the game, that sort of give you different characters, different resources.
By the way, as a player, there's never a right choice. There just isn't. You think you're making it, it's
it's all bad. But as you go deeper into the game, you just sort of establish your own community, and then you can sort of team up with other communities, and that's really where sort of the main crux of the game is, and that's where we're going. And so when this update comes later this year, it really will be about sort of you establishing your faction, your community, and then teaming up with others to be able to go out and fight other groups.
What's really cool about that is, if you see Walking Dead Season 5, they get to Alexandria and they're building this community. If you've read the comic, you know that from Alexandria, other communities are brought into the fold. And it really does become this story about these burgeoning little pockets of civilization that do have conflicts with each other. So if you are watching the show, we're getting into that cool stuff in Season 6, but you can experience this kind of stuff now, which is really awesome.
The other thing I'm a big fan of as far as the game is concerned is that there's multiple Ricks, but they're from various storylines in the comic, and it's super
That's
awesome
right.
because they're visually changed based off of what they look like in the comic, etc.
Yeah, so it's a character RPG, so the whole sort of battle mechanic, it's a turn-based battle mechanic, but there's sort of a lot of sort of a blend of collectible card games where you sort of are collecting characters and then matching them up and upgrading them, and then as the characters gain strength and abilities over time, they sort of evolve along with you.
And I mean, as far as like other games, it's not just video games too. Superfight, which I've had the pleasure of playing, with the creator at
Darren Ross.
San Diego, Darren. It says it's San Diego Comic-Con, but it is gaining a ton of popularity. You guys have a digital client as well that's in the works, and there's a Walking Dead card set now for Superfight.
That's right. I mean, the game, sort of, we've been working with Darren for over the last year. And we've been creating a lot of content around the game, but the game is sort of super scalable in the sense that we can continue to add more expansion packs that are themed, whether it's The Walking Dead or other packs.
Right.
But we have a digital, as you mentioned, a digital game coming out. So it'll be a PC game, and it's being directly sort of for people who are engaging online and sort of, it's built essentially for broadcasters. So it really is sort of the first game that we're tailoring towards Twitch. And it really will enable people to sort of, present their arguments online with their friends. And then even further, people who are watching those arguments online can use either Twitch voting or Twitter to sort of send in their votes. And so people can actually engage with the arguments in real time.
Which is a ridiculous amount of fun. Yeah.
One of the great things to me about Superfight is it's the rare game that I can actually. There's the green deck I could play with my 5-year-old daughter.
Exactly.
Right, and then there's the red deck that I could do a drinking game with my friends.
Right.
And I've never had a game that you can sort of play with both audiences in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, really
mix those two and have a really interesting time too.
It leads to some awkward conversation.
We've done that. It is quite fun. But the other thing about Superfight, and unlike other card games that will not be mentioned, is that there are some that just you play them a few times and it's sort of you get out all of the like shock and awe that you would get out of it, but I found that not to be the case with Superfight, because even with the powers
humanity
and
wears down after a while.
Oh, a little bit. Yeah, I like that. Look at you go. But yeah, I mean, like I've never had that situation. People say, "Hey, let's play that game," and I'm like, like I'm the guy that's played too much of that. It's not really not that fun. Superfight's different because not only is your opponent an aspect, an element, a variable of it all. But of course, just like the randomization of cards and then throwing in locales to fight in, etc. Tons of fun. Can't wait for the full release of the digital client. And I mean, as far as The Walking Dead is concerned, like, the nice thing about your universe that you've created, Robert, is that it fits very well in the world of video games, whether it be, the mobile offering that kind of lets you build that community and play that aspect of it, or like Telltale, where it's, making those decisions and kind of like feeling what the characters are feeling. I mean, I'm certainly, as you started to pen The Walking Dead, you weren't thinking, man, this is going to be such a huge universe that's going to have tons of video games made about it.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think the thing that we've done that's worked out really well is everything that we do with The Walking Dead offers its own experience and doesn't, borrow from the thing that came before. So, the TV show is an adaptation of the story from the comic, but when we went to do the novels, it was expanding the Woodbury side of things,
right,
introducing a lot of new characters into that world. The Telltale game series brings in an entirely different cast of characters. Road to Survival offers a completely different experience. If every single video game was about, started with Rick Grimes waking up in the hospital,
right,
in his coma,
of course,
going down the hallway, or was Daryl Dixon with his crossbow every single time, it wouldn't be as fun. It would kind of wear down. But, by continually offering a new experience and by continually making video games that completely stand on their own as a video game, if you strip away the Walking Dead branding, it's still a cool video game. That's what we always strive to do at Sky Mountain.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, you've actually said in the past that one of the reasons you love the television show is because it gave you an opportunity to sort of like use a virtual eraser in the comics and like kind of change. Does video games offer, in your opinion, like sort of that same thing?
I mean, it does that to a certain extent, where you can like expand on things and show different areas. I mean, especially with Road to Survival, we're seeing a lot more of the Woodbury side of things that you never got to experience in the comic, you never got to experience in the show, and even in the Woodbury novels, there are things that you didn't, necessarily see. And so that's just a lot of fun to go into those nooks and crannies and like find more story and do more cool things. But really just being able to open the world and show more areas of what's happening and how people are surviving. And, when the Starbreeze, Overkill's The Walking Dead game launches, that is going to encompass the Washington, D.C. area, and you're going to see a lot of different things that were happening in that area before our group ever got to Alexandria. And that's going to be a lot of fun, too. So each video game kind of, like, shines a spotlight on a different section of the overall Walking Dead universe. And gives you a bigger picture of what's happening.
So, and this might be a question for all three of you because, there's like consideration that has to be made for the universe regardless of what medium you're working in. Do you guys work adamantly to try to create continuity through everything, that from the Telltale to the mobile to the show to,
Yeah, well, that's something Dan.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's always a challenge. And I think the thing that works really well is you let the stories sort of evolve on their own, and if you can sort of tap back into the characters from the comic or the people that the characters that people know about, I think it's sort of weaving in and out of sort of the canon that's sort of that pre-established world that Robert's created.
Right.
I think though that one of the things that I just really want to get out there is, it's actually incredibly difficult to try to do what we do. It would be so much easier just to do Rick Grimes in the Fall of Atlanta again and again.
Sure.
But I feel like what we try to do is say, okay, each game, each different adaptation or expansion of the universe is worthy of its own thing, right? So Robert said if you stripped out the Walking Dead branding, it's like if you play the Telltale game and you're like, hey, this is just a great game. You play Road to Survival, you're like, this is just a great experience. The fact that it's Walking Dead gives you something added, but if you've never seen the show or never read the comic, well, first of all, I don't know who you are. That's a weird thing. But if that's a possibility, then you would still enjoy it.
Sure. And we've got a new Telltale thing coming out, right? Michonne.
We do.
Yeah. Can you tell us anything about that?
It's really awesome. We're doing a Michonne storyline that's going to launch very soon. And what's awesome about that is that the Telltale games have always, been, about Clementine and her other side thing. But in the comic book, we went like a year and a half, 2 years without showing Michonne.
Right.
And people always ask, like, what happened to her? Where was she? What's going on? And she kind of showed up in a pretty cool, dramatic way in the comic and was introduced back into that storyline. But there's been some bits and pieces of her backstory that we've seen.
Sure.
But the Telltale game is going to tell that story. So it'll start with, the last time we had seen Michonne and show her on that journey and show what she had lived through up to the point where she came back in the comic. So we're going to be detailing, that period of time where she was absent.
Which that's unique because you guys haven't really done that before.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the novels, right,
Yeah.
where you learned about Philip and sort of what happens with all that. And I do remember quite a bit of sort of comic tie-in in terms of, I remember the sign they left outside and going like, I had to flip through my old trades and be like, yep, that, that's that connected.
We always, that to me as a fan is always the best stuff. Like when there are like little tidbits in the novel that you can reference in the comic and go, that's where the sign at Wilshire Estates came from.
Yes.
Like, holy crap. That's just the best stuff. And we try to work that into every single thing that we're doing.
So I know that there's always, one thing, whether the show or the comic, or even, the digital games, there's always a lot of fan backlash, right? There's the folks that are just like, you got to just let it happen, man. Just let it happen and enjoy the ride. And then other folks is like, I will stop watching if X character, or I will stop reading if X character.
Yes.
Does that even bother you guys anymore? Is it just sort of like you expect it and sort of the world?
I absolutely love it.
Okay.
Because if you're telling me I'm going to stop watching the show if you kill Daryl Dixon, or if Rick Grimes dies, I'm done with the comic. That means that you are invested in those characters.
Yeah,
to the level
you're right.
That we want you to be. And that means that we're doing our job. Maybe you will actually, stop watching the show or read the comic if that thing happens. Maybe not. It's up to us to do cool stuff leading up to that and after that to make sure that you're still engaged. But getting the indication that you are exactly as engaged as we want you to be is great. So, it sounds angry, but I'm like, no, that's exactly what I wanted to say. That's awesome. Thanks.
I just want to say I've worked with Robert now for going on 15 years. So I just want to give a little insight into a piece of his psychology.
Please do.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Yeah.
So for those fans that say that, Robert doesn't take that and say, "Oh, that's really good advice." He takes it as a challenge. He's like, "Oh yeah, oh really? Oh you're not gonna okay." So I just want to say, like, be careful what you say to him because he might just write your character out of the book, out of the show, just because that's the type of guy he is.
All right. I'm going to keep that in mind.
Not quite that cruel, but there's a little bit of truth to that.
Just a little bit. I feel like we're close. I feel like we can share.
Okay. I'm going to take that to heart, and maybe I can use that to my advantage somehow. Just start tweeting. John Hamm. If John Hamm isn't Negan, I'm going to stop watching the show. Like stuff like that, maybe. I don't know. I want to talk a little bit. Obviously, Fear the Walking Dead did remarkably well. I assume that we're going to be seeing the continuation of that story. Has there been any official announcement about that yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We
Wait, that was actually even before you guys aired, right?
Yeah, come on, keep up.
Yeah.
But no,
you guys are doing a lot of stuff.
Season 2 right now. We start filming very soon.
Okay. So pretty soon we're just going to have year-long Walking Dead as well.
32 weeks a year we're going to have Walking Dead on TV. We're working towards 52, but we're not there yet.
That's excellent.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't do 52 days a week or weeks a year, and I'm going to stop watching the show, Robert.
Dang it. Why did you tell them this?
Sorry, man. Sorry.
With the success of The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, another title, actually a couple titles, I think. Of course, Outcast, which we're gonna have the cast from Outcast on the stage later.
I'm in that too.
You are gonna be there.
Yeah, it was in my calendar as like a different entry.
All right. Cool.
I'll be there. So I'll be back here on this couch.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
Will. So
keep my headset warm.
Okay, we're gonna just put it off to the side, and no one else can use it.
I'll stay on for the next interview too if you want. I'm having a good time.
Robert Kirkman all day here on the New York Comic Con live stage, ladies and gentlemen. Great.
I think I'm talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
June's over there like, no.
We've got a Destiny panel.
Yeah, actually, you bring that up.
No.
We'll come back to Outcast because I hear you're quite a. When I was like, how much does Robert even have to play? Time to play video games? Like,
I make time for Destiny.
Don't ask him about Destiny. So I guess I'm gonna ask you. I hear you're playing a lot of Destiny.
Yeah, I saw Polygon just did an article about me talking about Destiny, which was pretty cool because I get like a lot
of
Destiny news from Polygon. I was like, oh, this is weird. But yeah, no, I love it. I mean, my son was a big fan of Halo, but never really played it. And so then when I saw Bungie was coming out with Destiny, I was like, oh, we can get on the ground floor. And he's 9. And so we play together, and then I've got some friends that get in and play, and it's really cool. My son was very upset because he and I built up our 3 characters, and we would trade off and do different missions and stuff. And then I got him a PlayStation for his birthday, and then he had to build his own characters. And so he'd be like, "Yeah, you guys are level 32, but I got him halfway there. You got to help me with these people now." And so I'd kind of pop in and help him, do some things. And so, but now we're all up at the same level, and it's just great fun. It's great fun.
The good news is that many great horror franchises have actually eventually gone to space. So, start talking to Dan about making
I think that's the sign that the horror franchise is dying.
I'm just kidding. Please never, take...
Wait, are you doing that reverse thing?
No, I'm not. This time I'm serious.
Confused.
Don't do it, David. Come on.
Okay.
Walking Dead on the moon.
Awesome. We're going there.
So going back real quick to Outcast, did I hear also that Thief of Thieves is being considered as well?
Things are moving along. There's nothing that we can really talk about.
Sure.
At Skybound, we try to keep things as close to the vest as possible.
Yeah.
Until we know that it's a solid thing, because we don't like making announcements to make an announcement and then
of course.
Hey, hold on. But yeah, things are progressing well, and we hope to have something to announce very soon.
So. I know you based off of what you said, you're not going to
made an announcement that we're going to make an announcement.
Yeah.
I want to get that out there.
Not
That's an official
announcement of an announcement. All right.
I'm not going to say if it's a television announcement or a video game announcement or both, but
wow.
There it is.
Got to give
interpret that how you must. So, I have one other question about a property that you've come up with. It, I obviously love The Walking Dead, really love Outcast, but one of my favorites too, because it was the reason that I got back into superhero comics, was actually Invincible.
Invincible.
And yeah, Invincible was the series I ignored for a while because I just wasn't a superhero guy, right? I know, do it. But then when I read it, I was like, I'm such an idiot. Like, what the hell? And I love the story of Mark and all of his buddies and the bad guys in that one. Some of the greatest. But, you think about all of the books that you've put together, and you're like, Walking Dead, that makes a lot of sense for television. Outcast, makes a lot of sense. Thief of Thieves definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Invincible, and I'm like, makes a lot of sense as an animated show. Could we ever see Invincible, the animated show?
I think there's a possibility. I think there's a possibility. I also wouldn't rule out a live-action TV show at some point. But, with everything that we do, we try to make sure that we can do the best product. And Invincible is this giant, it's got a huge scope. It's superheroes and world-shattering ramifications, and there's storylines that take place on the moon and in deep space and underground and in the ocean, and it's just a big, big, big story.
And David's like, oh my God, how the hell do we?
and to do it, we have to do it right,
Absolutely.
To me, it sounds like it'd make a pretty awesome video game. But don't ask me.
I feel like maybe some of my favorite panels from Invincible are just, someone gets punched and there's just matter, and then that one random eyeball that just happens to,
Ryan Otley, the artist, is he absolutely loves drawing the violence and the gore, and he and I, we love talking about this kind of stuff, and superheroes, they always talk about how powerful they are and how strong they are, but they never really do that much damage to each other, And so Invincible, we tried to, definitely show how impossibly strong people would actually fight, and it gets pretty nasty.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for all those great titles that you've brought to the table.
It's a superhero comic where people strangle each other with their own intestines.
Yeah. It's fantastic. If you've never read it, please check out Invincible.
That's actually a thing.
That totally.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. One of my favorites is that, like you mentioned, Mark, when he got sent to the desert, that he had no way to get back out, and he kills the only person that is able to get him back out, and he doesn't even realize what he's doing, and it's quite awesome.
He punches the pudding that's left after.
Yeah, basically.
After he kills the guy for a long time. Yeah. He was very upset.
I've always wanted there to be, I think an animated show would be awesome. I think it's also hard, though. There isn't, for some reason, yet the marketplace in America for sort of serious animation, right, in the sort of with violence. We just haven't had that breakthrough. I think anime is shown that there's an audience, but the high rate of piracy in the anime space has sort of, I think, prevented the mainstream U.S. networks from coming into that space.
Yeah.
Just yet, but we hopeful. We're hopeful.
So we just have a few minutes left. I know, Dan, you guys are also involved with the Indiecade project coming up soon. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what you guys' involvement is?
So for anybody who doesn't know, Indiecade is sort of a festival that's built around individual creators. And every year in October they do a festival in Culver City in Los Angeles that is sort of a celebration of all the people around the world sort of that are basically submitting their game projects into a sort of a very large jury pool system. And then they celebrate sort of the finalists and the winners of those submissions. And so this year we decided, because we're sort of all about sort of empowering and sort of putting a spotlight on individual creators and sort of working directly with developers as creators, that we would sort of partner up with them, and we're going to spend a day streaming the games. So on Saturday, October 24th, we'll be there. We'll be playing Superfight. So we got a lot of the people that are friends of yours coming down and sort of joining in the party. But throughout the day, we're going to be sort of talking and bringing in these individual creators, and then showcasing some of the games that we have been sort of looking at and playing a lot that we really love, and we wanted to sort of just give them a moment to sort of be part of what we do.
And if they're not able to go in person, you guys will be streaming on the Skybound Twitch channel?
Yes, we will. We'll be streaming on the Skybound Twitch channel, so Twitch /Skybound. And it'll be on our channel, but it'll also be sort of a part of sort of your sort of on the front page, I believe. So
yep.
And we will that's where you can go and find it. And we'll be doing it all the way from 10 a.m. in the morning to like 5 p.m. at night. So it'll be an all-day affair.
Awesome. Great. We just have time for maybe one or two more questions. Obviously, the fan base at a convention like this is massive. What is it like just to be able to come out here and meet all the people who appreciate the great work that you guys do?
It's absolutely overwhelming. I mean, it's always a lot of fun. Anytime I get to go to a convention, it's great because my kids get to eat because of these people. So anytime I can shake a hand or sign a book or take a picture, I'm always happy to do that. And it's great, getting to have some FaceTime with people and get to hear what they like and get to hear what they don't like. Although people aren't as forthcoming with the things they don't like as they are on the internet, which is always kind of disappointing.
Right.
But,
well, that's what we're going to do after the interview,
I can't
right?
wait.
We've got another 30-minute where just
Just let me know what you hate.
Yeah. David, what about you? You get to talk about the projects that you work on, and I know you've done quite a few panels over the last few years at many of these conventions. But what do you think about meeting with the fans? And
I mean, it's crazy because if I wasn't doing this, I'd still be coming to the convention as a fan. I grew up going to comic book conventions in like the basement of the local Marriott hotel and sort of buying back issues. So it's to be.
Hey, wait a minute! It says Marriott over your shoulder
Oh my
right
goodness.
now. You didn't do that on purpose.
No, I actually did. It actually.
That's amazing. We love Marriott.
I
You guys
do.
should stay at their hotels.
I wanna stay at the
they're a
courtyard.
sponsor of this thing. Comfortable beds, I hear.
I hear too.
Late checkouts. They'll let you check out at like 3 in the afternoon. It's like, whoa, Marriott, why did you do this? You're so nice.
They love you right now, Robert.
Yeah, it's
But
company.
honestly, that is the thing. It's like when we went on the stage the first time at Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con, I was like, I was here 15 years ago, sitting like right there, and I'd waited like 6 hours to get in line. So to be there on stage, to be last night on stage at Madison Square Garden was kind of like, it was lunacy.
Crazy,
Absolute lunacy. So to be here and to see people that actually like the things that we make for a living is kind of amazing.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so much for joining us this
Travis.
morning. Give a big round of applause, Dan, David, and Robert. Keep doing what you guys are doing. We really appreciate it. As fans, we will keep watching and keep reading and keep playing. So thank you guys so much. We've got a ton more coming at you here live from New York Comic Con 2015. Don't go away. We'll be right back.